DBSCG things.
What's up, Yuhp gang? It's your boy Tyson, and welcome back to Yuhp DBSCG things. And today we're bringing you another very exciting deck profile, guys. This is going to be one that I decided to swoop up from my last local. This is going to be Green Cooler. But before we get into it, guys, I do want to say I do have a giveaway going on right now. It is for a playset of the SPR Goku Negate for the Dripku deck. If you guys want to enter in a chance to win this, go back to one of my last 3 videos. Like it, comment on it, and be subscribed to the channel, and that's how you enter. With that being said, guys, if you guys want any custom mats and or sleeves, absolutely check out Promats, guys. This is the best place to go get your custom card needs. Link is in the description as usual. And also on the screen now you can see that they are holding a monthly tournament via Discord at the second weekend of every single month with some great prizing here. You can come win some Promat mats, TCG, Metal Leaders, and also some booster boxes. So if this is something you're interested in, you go down to the description below and go to the Discord and join it. With that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this deck profile or my content in general, I'm going to hit all my buttons. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And with that being said, guys, let's spin it around and dive.
Alrighty, you guys, and here we are with a deck from our locals, a brand new one that is from Ultimate Squad. We have Green Cooler, the Unison based deck, and yeah, go ahead, dive into your leader, and go ahead and tell us about your deck and your matchups today.
So I had my doubts about this leader originally, but after actually getting to play with them a little bit, I really like him. I've been striving to try and play in green for a while now, and just really haven't had too much luck with other decks, but I really enjoy him. He's really good. So when he attacks, you can either draw a card or you can play a Unison with a specified cost of 1 with a marker on it. So you kind of get that either or, which I really like, because if you don't have a Unison in hand to play, then you can just draw a card or whatever you need to do. And then once per turn, really clutch. When a Unison is sent from the board to the drop, you get to draw a card. Really nice. In my personal opinion, kind of saves this leader. Unfortunately, the other yellow leader, the Goku, the Dripku, or as some people call it, doesn't have this skill, and that really hurts it. And then Standard Awakening. Standard Awakening, 4 or less, untap, draw, pretty normal. So he's pretty good. Flip side, pretty similar. You still get the skill of when he attacks, you can either draw or you can play Unison, specified cost 1 with a marker. Really cool. And then same skill of drawing when you lose your Unison. Really cool. Plays into what the deck really wants to do. You have a couple counter Unisons in this, so that really helps. And then he's got probably the most important skill he needs to have to make this deck actually function. Activate battle, not once per turn. You can discard a Unison to give himself or another one of your Unisons plus 5k for the battle, which makes your Unisons in hand that you can't play not dead cards. So that's really huge.
That skill, that's, in my opinion, the skill that the yellow Dripku should have had.
That is also another skill that
you end up with a bunch of Unisons you just cannot do nothing with.
Nope.
So yeah, being able to just combo them off whenever you need to.
Yep, making a 5k combo guarantee is definitely what you need. So really good, really enjoy it. The build is pretty simplistic. Couple random techs here and there. We've got 4 of the 1-drop. This card is really good when it's played from anywhere, mind you. Search top 5 for a Unison, specified cost of 3 or less, so really good. And then his secondary skill, which is really nice, when one of your Unisons is set to drop, you can take a life, and then he'll gain plus 11k for the turn. Really nice for that early game pressure. I try to see this in my opening hand as often as I can, sometimes even my turn 2, depending on my Unison setup.
And the taking the life is not a condition, right? So you get the 11k or whatever regardless of taking a life?
Yes, it is up to 1 life, and then he gains the 11k, so that is really nice. So even when you're awakened, he's really good. So nice early game pressure, then he goes along with the extra card we'll talk about pretty soon here. Battle cards, we're playing Unisons, so no surprise here. Free Unison counterplay, no explanation needed here. You're playing Unisons, you're playing this card. Not much else to say here. 3, I think, is a good number for it. It's not a card I want to see too often, because if you somehow accidentally end up with no Unison, then it's a dead card, and etc. Same problem every other deck has. Since we're playing Mono Green, Upo, again, not much to say here. Good card to have, good for those aggro decks. I'm hearing that the GT deck is going to be pretty fierce, something to worry about, and of course U7's not going anywhere anytime soon, so just a good card to have. Also kind of helps shift around your Unison, so like there's a card in here that depends on your Unisons being in a drop area, the battle card will just show you, so pretty good to have to kind of help you shift through your Unisons from your hand for your deck or whatever a little bit faster. So I might drop it down to a 2-of just because I end up seeing him in situations I don't want to see him in.
I like that a lot. So you said you have a card in this deck that puts cards for unisons from drop to deck. So you can just free pitch off this, and then you have a card that's basically going to make it so you did not ditch one for that. That's pretty sweet.
Can be, yeah. So, had to get this card SPR. It's a lovely art.
That's my favorite art.
So this card's really, really good. Double strike. For each unison in your drop area, his energy cost gets reduced by 1. The way this deck plays, you'll get that condition probably by turn 2 if you do it right and you see the stuff in time. So really, really good card. When he is played, you can place a unison from your drop area underneath your deck, and then you can force your opponent to discard. So it's literally a 1-cost, double strike, 20k, and a discard. So, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say here. It's a really phenomenal card. Good pressure, low cost. Yep. It's
like just looking at that over and over again just makes me feel like, wow, you can nuke this?
Yep. Wow. Pretty nutty. And then, of course, I have multiple ways to shuffle the deck, so it all ends up working out.
That's nice, man. You know, where you put them in the deck almost feels like you don't have to pitch turns.
It's true. So going along with the green unison theme, this is probably, I would argue, the best green unison in the game right now. This thing is nutty. In power 4, dual attack, blocker, counter attack. That's huge. Really, really good. And then when he's played, he's a board wipe, doesn't ignore barrier, but that's fine. But my personal favorite quality is he has the -4 triple strike. If you play him right, I played him turn 3 a couple times a couple of my games, so getting off that -4 with that in power 4 is not hard whatsoever if you play the deck right. So I mean, the triple strike and plus 10k, possibly turn 3, really, really nutty. Another thing I really love about him is he's a dual attack blocker, so when you play him, if you don't go for the main kill, you can literally just have him out as a blocker, swing with him once, you got the block. Another cool thing to mention about his -4 that I always forget is at the end of the turn he does restand, so most times I'm not playing him turn 3, I'm playing him out with at least 6 to 7 markers, so when he plays out, if my -4 doesn't get the kill, then he's still a unison with a couple markers, so my Frieza unison, my Frieza counterplay is still alive, my Dormant's still alive, and I got a blocker out. So defense is solid. So just
card is, man, like you said, being a counterattack is crazy. Like, if your opponent decides to go wide on you and, like, they swing, you're just like, okay, well, negate, blow your entire board up, try again, please.
Metacooler cries.
Metacooler cries to this card. A lot of cards cry to this card. I was crying to this card playing Kappa, and I was, like, trying so hard to make you play this card without letting a board stay out. Like, it was, like, impossible.
Yeah, this is, again, best green unison in the game right now. You can't change my mind.
If you're playing a deck that plays unisons in general, add a couple of those for, like, a splash.
Or just green in general. Like, I mean, even if you're not trying to focus on unisons, just green.
Well, this thing, most decks now play a unison anyways.
Exactly.
And, like, most of the green decks right now that are doing good are playing the Vegito unison. That's a +2, it almost never loses its markers. But let's be real, your opponent's going to try to stop that -7. And guess what? If they stop the -7, but it still got 4 markers on it.
Yep, it's true. It's true.
That's all I gotta say.
It's pretty nutty.
So, yeah, go ahead.
So going along with the theme of the deck, unisons, of course, I run all of the standard ones, especially the counterattack and counterplay ones. The reason why these are so crazy, especially with the Empower, is because you play them on your turn, or your opponent's turn mostly. So what ends up happening is the Empower will, of course, transfer over when you play the new card. But every time you play one of these, you'll send the previous unison to your drop area, which will proc your leader skill. Because as I said, the leader skill is not once per turn, or the leader skill is once per turn, but it's not only during your turn. So when you play these, it'll proc the leader skill, which is really, really nice. Yep. So the Salza is really nice. He's essentially another Frieza counterplay. When he is played with 3 or more markers, you get to KO a battle card, energy cost 7 or less. So really, really good. And then the Naze is a counter attack when he is played with 3 or more markers. You choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and they can't attack with it for the rest of the turn, which is really nice.
To the end of your opponent's next turn.
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
Yeah, this card is Mafuba.
It's
Mafuba on a unison that turns on freezes and dormants. Like, what is that?
And then with your Empower ability, coming out with 3 markers every single time, as long as you got Unison already out, I mean, it's really no problem. This deck definitely does not have a problem with keeping up the Empower chain.
That card shut down my Kefla in our battle. This card's amazing.
It shut down the Vegeta Secret Rare last week for me, which didn't win me the game, but it definitely stumped my opponent, so wins all the way around. And then continuing with the theme, he doesn't have a counterattack, but he's typically my turn 1 Unison if I see him. What's really cool about him is, let's say I go second and I play a different Unison, I can play the Unison first with leader skill, and I can uptick so I can get it to 2 or 3 markers, and then I play him. His Empower 2 skill will give him the extra markers, and then when he is played with 3 or more markers, you can search the 1-drop cooler, which is really good. So I mean, it kind of recycles everything. So and then his uptick skill is just he gains plus 10k for the turn. Oh, I forgot to mention. The Salsa, his uptick skill, he gains plus 5 for the turn, making him 15k. And then the Nays is a plus 2 skill, which is really nice, kind of helps build up your power chain a little bit. And then he gains plus 6. So you really don't use him to attack, you use him more for just kind of getting your power chain going. And of course, these 2 are your main attackers putting on your pressure. Or just building in power if you really need to. But I mean, this card and the 1-drop cooler are my turn 1, turn 2 plays 9 times out of 10, depending on what I see or what I'm up against.
Normally get like 2 to 3 15k swings off on turn 1.
What's really cool is I can literally, like I said, turn 1, I can literally, my turn 1 if I go second, I can literally play my 1-drop cooler if I need to search him out or search out another one, and then swing, play him using leader skill, and then that's 3 attacks on my turn 1 I can do. I mean, it's pretty nutty.
Biggest thing too is not only did you attack 3 times, but you set up all your defense just by putting that Unison on play.
It's true. It's pretty nuts. Continuing with good green Unisons, I'm probably going to up this to a 4. I wasn't 100% sure which avenue I was going to go because this deck realistically can go heavy hand control or heavy aggro, but I think I'm going to add a 4th once I get one of this card. It's really good. It's got the Empower 3, and then when it's played with 3 or more markers, it makes your opponent discard, and then plus its uptick skill, plus 10, which is really good, so it's a 20k beater. Only thing you gotta watch out for is it can't attack with 3 or fewer markers, so you gotta make sure you're playing it in the right timing to make sure you can actually swing with it. But I mean, there's been a couple times where even if I know I can't swing with it that turn, I still play it just to get the uptick and to get the discard skill, because I mean, why not? Your opponent discards never a bad thing. So really,
it's almost never that you're not going to get the 3 marker on play with that.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to not do.
Your leader plays them and it comes out for 2, and then you just got to tap 1 for that. I mean,
yep.
It's almost impossible for it not to come out with 3 markers. So.
I've noticed too that even if my opponent aggroes down my Unisons, getting your Empower chain back up and going really isn't that much of an issue. It does take a little more resources to do it, unfortunately, but I mean, in my personal opinion, if they're focusing on their Unisons, you're kind of winning already because then they're not paying attention to your leader. So it ends up working out for the end.
You got to be versed in a pretty big aggro deck to really lose to the Unison beatdown.
Absolutely. Super combos, bit of a weird choice, I know, but I might switch over to the 18 multicolor. I haven't quite decided yet, but I like having this Unison or this super combo mainly because he's a discard for your opponent and a potential draw for you, depending on what situation you're in. You do awaken pretty fast with him because when he attacks, you have to take a life. It is mandatory. And then, of course, if you want to go for the more aggro route with the 1-drop, then you're going to get your life down pretty quickly. So I like having the option of being able to draw versus not being able to draw, like with the 18 super combo. So you play him, your opponent discards a card, and then when your life is at 4 or less, you draw 1 card. So, I mean, main reason why I run him, he's got the versatility. So he's also not a really bad turn 2 or turn 3 play. If my opponent's already kind of low on hand, I can just...
You snuck him in a couple times against me, and it hurts, man.
It really
does.
does.
You really think it won't, but it will. If you don't have a way to kill that on play or stop it from coming into play, not only are you going to lose a card, but he's going to combo it off in his very next attack and draw a card from it and benefit. So I feel you on that. 1 energy to make me discard and you draw 1 is pretty good.
It is. If your opponent doesn't get rid of it, it's a discard or it's a draw on your turn, or your opponent's turn. So really good. Extra cards. This card is really good. Love the versatility on it. Search top 7, limit 1. You can either play a Unison with a marker on it, energy cost of 1 of course, or you can play a green cooler energy cost of 2 or less. Right now, the only target I have in the deck that I'm probably going to keep is the 1-drop. So I really miss with this card just because you can search for either the Unison or the 1-drop. So
and it is important to note that you do get to look at the top 7 before you get to choose which effect you want to use.
yeah, that's pretty important.
That's important. So once you get into looking at it, if you see Unisons you want, you can take it, or if you see a cooler you want, you can choose which one you want to do at that point.
Yep, it's a pretty hard card to miss with. So it's really good.
Really solid.
Yep. So if you're gonna run it, I highly recommend keeping it in
It's
here.
a great turn 1 play, man. Like the way you used it on our turn 1 in our game was amazing.
It starts your plays up because, like I said, if you don't start with Unisons, you can play this, you can get it going, and then let's say you don't see a Unison first turn or whatever, you play this. If you still don't see a Unison, but you see your cooler, the 1-drop, you can play the 1-drop. The 1-drop will search top 5, and then you see your Unison, then you can swing with later, and you can still get that play. So, I mean, it's just versatility. So it
Plus
helps.
it's an extra card in your drop, which is important for other cards you're doing.
Yep. So I got this 1 Tech Up battle card. It's in here just kind of like, like out of nowhere, no one sees it coming kind of thing. Good for stopping Boopos, good for stopping... Actually, I can't stop Boopo, I don't think.
No, it's during your opponent's return is reduced.
Yeah. But regardless, little sneak play, playing on your opponent's
Against
turn.
U7, man, there's a lot of 4-drops or less in that
Yep.
game, man.
So just like a little sneak play. The only reason why he's not more of right now is because my extra card count isn't really all that high. So the odds of me being able to use him a lot is kind of iffy. So for the time being, he's just a 1 of, just like a little sneak card, whatever. More green fashion, 3 dormants at the moment. Probably going to push that up to 4 just because it's dormant. Not really a whole lot to say here. Free when you have a Unison out. This card plays Unisons like no tomorrow, so I mean this card's going to be live turn 1 if you get the right stuff out in time, so I mean it's pretty insane. Even if you don't have the Unison ready, I mean it only costs 1 to play, so card's been out forever. Everyone knows. You're playing green, you're playing Unisons, you're playing this. Not much else to say here.
Go pick up your copies before it keeps skyrocketing.
Yeah, 100%. The Frieza Unison as well, because that's not going to stay cheap forever. Just to kind of help with extra cards, and just because I feel like it's a good negate, and the sparking thing really helps. You're siphoning through cards pretty fast. You're sending Unisons to drop pretty fast, so getting sparking in this deck is pretty easy in my personal opinion, so I figured I'd just throw 4 of them in here, see how I feel about it. Probably going to drop it down to 2 or 3, but I mean, sparking negates are kind of hard to hate. They're just good.
The 2, I still like that card a lot. I like being able to have a hard negate on a deck that's dormant heavy. That's how I feel about it. I still run 2 of that, but in my personal opinion, I run 3 dormant, 2 homicidal, and 2 shocking deathball. That's my negate split in this deck. Homicidal is nice because if you really need to and your opponent is playing a deck that it can deal with your Unisons really easily, having that Rip of Life, negate a first attack at the Unison, block the second attack at the Unison is always really good.
I did think about doing that. I did think about doing like a 2-2 split, 2 this, 2 homicidal, just because homicidal is good. The only reason why I was somewhat hesitant about homicidal at first is because you take your own life so easily. So it's just kind of like, but I'll probably still do it, just because the defense is good. And then Secret Rare. This card is really fun.
Let's get this closer to the camera for these guys, dude. Look at that thing. Look at the textures, dude. This is my favorite SCR of the set, dude. The textures behind all these characters are phenomenal.
Card's really good too. Activate battle for each, if your leaders are Frieza Clan, or green card for each. I do believe it's Unison, Frieza Clan, in your energy, board, and drop area, which you're gonna get there no matter what. Even turn 3.
It's in every area.
Yeah.
Even Unison or Frieza Clans in all leader areas, energy areas, battle areas, Unison areas, drops areas, and warps.
Yep. So yeah, this
where
card.
it's at.
Yep. So this card's energy cost restrictions
That
gonna
card
be
smacked me
pretty.
so hard, dude. I was not expecting to feel so bad having that SCR smack me in a game, but yes, it definitely KO'd my boss monster very easily. And then he said discard 2. How many cards left in here? Here, let me play my super combo. Discard another.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
My card solid.
It is.
Really solid.
But yep, it won me. Didn't win my game against Kaba, unfortunately, but it did win my game against Cell because he didn't see it coming. Which I mean, it's an activate battle.
What card
It's
did
not
you
sure.
end up hitting with it?
He teched in a 5-drop Gohan, the one with the flat double strike. Yep.
That's actually really good.
He threw that in. He put the pressure on. He was going to win if I didn't have this. It was as simple as that. I was down to 3 life. He played the card. He had the double strike. He had the Vegito Unison with 6 markers, an extra of the Unison in hand, so he was going to just straight up hit me for the 2 damage, uptick the Unison, and then go for the -7, and then he was going to win. So it was either this or I lost. It was that simple.
You KO'd in mid-battle, make him discard 2.
Yep, and he only had 2 cards left in hand too, so
Very
it
rough.
ended up winning me the game. But anyway, matchups. My first matchup was against the new Toa deck, the token deck, which I mean, it wasn't too bad. He kept pressuring my Unisons down, so that was some good experience to see what happens when my Unisons do get pressured down. Like I said, it can be a bit of a tricky matchup only because he warps instead of KOs. Well, like black typically does, so he's warping some of my cards versus KOing them, which can be a little bit difficult. But overall, I managed to pull out the win, mainly because of the secret rare and just because early game pressure is good.
How did Dormant do against that deck? Wiping those tokens up a lot?
It did decently enough. Honestly, the deck doesn't rely on the tokens for attacking nearly as much. It's more like resource control, which is really, really good. It's just too bad that there's one card out there that could basically shut that deck down. But the Black Mass Saiyan, unfortunately, but there's really nothing you can do about that. But I mean, beyond that, it's not a terrible deck. It definitely can be tricky. Just because it can use the tokens as a separate resource. It draws a lot of cards. It could be a tricky matchup depending on if you saw the right cards or not, but it wasn't a clean sweep. Game 2 was Kaba. That came down to the wire. That was an insane matchup. That could have gone either way. That one was recorded, thankfully, so I get to see that one. But I mean, that was down to the wire. Like, that was really, really, really close. I got him all the way down to 2 cards in hand, like he said. If I had just a couple more cards, I probably could have got it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like it's blue, it's control, it's blue-yellow, it's control, it's...
And like we mentioned earlier, this activate battle on the backside of this leader is the most important part of this leader to keep it alive. So in case you guys don't know, the Kaba deck, it has the Unison that lets me flip my leader over, or my opponent's leader over, and unfortunately that is what got me the game. I flipped the leader over and his hand was filled with Unisons and couldn't combo with them, so.
Yep, no, that definitely won you the game. I did not have the Camel Fighter to win against it. It just came pretty close. And then my last game was Cell, and as I just mentioned, that was pretty close too. It literally came down to me seeing the secret rare on his final swing. If I did not have that secret rare, he would have won. Hands down. 100%. So
did he end up getting the whole turn 5 shenanigans off on you? Did he drop the 7-drop into Celzino?
No, thankfully he didn't do that. He just went for the Gohan play, but I mean, he was hand controlling me pretty decently. I only had... Yeah.
You got to pay 5. Oh, he killed you on turn 4 before you even got to it. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was close, though. I mean...
Yeah, man, this cooler deck, man, it's solid.
It is.
Like you said, the secret rare is the one saved him.
Yes, secret rare. I know, dude. This, I like I said, everyone was like, "Oh, this secret rare is bad. It's bad." And then I really got smacked with this at locals, and I was like, "Wow, that really feels bad." It's not that the card's bad; it's because it feels bad when you use it. Like I got smacked. I was like, "Damn, my Kefla's gone."
Can I flex real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
We got all of them.
Cases are nutter butter.
Alrighty. So with that, yeah, that was against Cell. Alright, so with that being said, that was his deck and his matchups. Do you have any shout-outs you want to do before we go?
Well, shout out to Yuhp Games as usual. Love coming here every Sunday, getting recorded, looking at our mistakes, cringing at them later, because we all do it, every single one of us. We're all famous for it. As another famous YouTube commenter says, we make the mistakes so you don't have to. Love the comments, love the feedback, love checking in every week to see what everybody says.
Shout out AOT for sure.
Love when people complain about the way I put my life. I'm not going to stop doing that, by the way. So enjoy. And, yep, love the game, love the cards.
Alrighty. So with that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this deck profile or my content in general, remember to hit all those buttons for me, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And with that being said, guys, we will see you guys next time.